What up, peeps? It's your girl Dosh coming back to Girl Takes. Well, it's that time again. It's review time, and I'm here to review It Chapter 2, hence the shirt. This movie, straight off the cuff, I enjoyed it immensely, so much that I went and saw it twice. I knew once was not going to be enough, and I'm actually glad I did. Of course, directed by Andy Muschietti, and it was written by, I want to say, Gary Doberman. This was done very well. The second installment and the final installment too of this actual chapter dealing with Pennywise. Now, of course, you all remember this hints from circa '89, where it's a group of kids that are together. You know, of course, one of them, Bill, played by James McAvoy's character, you know, of course, loses his brother Georgie in such heinous, murder, whichever, and it kind of bands these particular kids who are kind of considered bully kids together to basically deal with this shape-shifting monster who basically preys on kids in the form of a clown. And I will say the first one I enjoyed, which was 2017. This one, of course, 2 years later. And just like the first one I enjoyed, you know, the scare factor, the storyline, I did enjoy this second installment as well. Now, the fact that it's 3 hours, you would think we grew up with a lot. Definitely know they have to condense it, and that's fine, because I really will say off the cuff, you do get reintroduced to all the characters. Let me go down. Of course, you get to see, of course, the first one you see is Mike, played by Isaiah Mustafa. There's an opening scene in the movie that is very graphic. At first, it's very, innocent, whatever, and all that, and then it takes a turn, and a graphic turn, so to speak. I did not expect Andy to go there, but he went there, and it was very effective, and it opened up the floodgates where we, of course, would get reintroduced to Pennywise, and I will just say that much, like I stated. And I'm sorry, let me know, this will be spoiler free. My apologies. I want to just note that off the cuff. I don't want you all to think I'm just going to run amok in this review. So from there, of course, you get introduced again to Bill, played by James McAvoy. Of course, let me just go down the line. Of course, you see his character. Of course, he is a writer. He's kind of doing his thing. He's writing books that are now being made into films, whichever. And you kind of see situations where he's dealing with difficulties with people wanting to utilize his work the way it should be through the book, whatever. So I like you kind of get a little understanding of that aspect as well from him. Now, with Mike making all the calls, everybody saying they have to come back to Derry, we're going to kind of just go down the line. The next one you kind of see is the one played by James, I want to say Ransom, who plays Eddie. Of course, he's, now, big guy, suit, works in the city and all that and everything. He's married, he's doing his little thing, still very high maintenance, high strung, whatever, and all that. Certain things he feels, very, strongly, his convictions, very, nitpicking, whatever. That has not changed into his adult life, whichever. And of course, he gets his call and a certain situation happens with him. I thought it was rather comical. Then you see a scene of course, Bill Hader, who plays Richie. Little, very interesting opening for him, whichever. But of course, he's a comedian, whatever. He's doing his little thing. Like it was kind of close, ties to what Bill Hader is, in real life, with being he's all about comedy, whichever. And I like that as well. Then you do see the scene of course, now Ben, all older, very handsome, played by Jay Ryan. From there, he's kind of, a big businessman, whatever, and all that. He, has his big company and all that, and, running it like a CEO, things of that nature and all. So he's done very well for himself. Then you see a scene, of course, of Jessica Chastain's character. Of course, she's, married, very well-known, individual in circles, whichever. But with that comes a situation where husband is just a little possessive, at times, whatever, and all that. Kind of gets out of hand with that, And then you see the character played by Andy Bean, which is Stanley. And, he's just kind of, at home, with his wife, whatever, and all that. They're planning, a little trip, whatever, and all. Of course, he gets a call. And it kind of set off the tone of how things are going to go when you start seeing certain things that are happening with the characters. They're getting a call from Mike. He kind of brings it back up, because when they see the phone ring, you do see the scene where it shows that it's coming from Maine. That's all of a sudden when they start to realize, whichever, something's around, getting a call from, Derry, Maine. What's this about? And that's kind of when he's like, you need to come home. It looks like Pennywise is now back, whichever. And all of them have their own feelings and responses to that. I don't want to go into detail as exactly what they are, whichever. Some more more interesting than others. You know, some of course funny, some very dramatic, and dramatic they are. And of course, if you all remember the TV miniseries, you see the scene where they all meet up at the restaurant or whatever, and all they of course have the reminiscent moments, whichever, and then certain things start happening while they're at the table, whichever, that start to really pick up in the movie. And that's kind of where we kind of lead off into Mike wanting to discuss what we need to do to kill Pennywise, and him having a plan and things of that nature escalates. Now, I will say this, I really wish they did flesh out a little bit more of the characters as adults. We got to see a little bit more of their life, a little bit, being that the movie is, what, 2 hours and 50 minutes, whatever you would, but I'm thinking the way I watched the movie twice, I was checking to see how the pacing was done. Some parts could have been doodled down a little bit in regards, but the scene, there's a scene within the movie where Mike tells them they have to all have a certain specific pointed moment where they have a certain, like, either trinket or whatever that, you know, deals with a certain situation where they dealt with Pennywise, where that was, you know, very I don't know if it's say life-changing or dramatic, whatever, and they need that piece to be a part of, say, for instance, the ritual, whatever he's planning to do for them to make it most effective, especially if they're going to go back to the scene of when all the incident happened where he went into the ground or whatever. They have to go back to that place for all this to come together as a group and to finally work on, you know, ridding themselves of Pennywise, and then just the people in the town of Derry, Maine, as well as just as them. You know, they all want to get back to their lives, go back to their homes, whichever. The only one that stayed there actually was Mike, played by Isaiah Mustafa's character. So from there, like I said, you do see scenes where they all are dealing with their situations when they, of course, Mike tells them to come back and meet me up at the library, whatever. They were very effective. The creepy factor, definitely. Occasional jump scare for me. This takes a lot to scare me. You know, it just don't. You know, you got me when I was a teen. It'd be a different story. A grown woman, don't, no. You know, this is just me. I can only speak for myself. So, but besides that, let me give shout out to Bill Skarsgård playing Pennywise. He does a phenomenal job playing this. I can't say enough about him and his character. He's just, I'm almost at tongue-tied to just talk about it because I know he's so good in his character playing that. The way he, the mannerisms, just the way he would talk, you know, to the little kids, you know, when he's trying to, you know, lure them, things of that nature. I really just can't say enough about him, whatever. I was literally mesmerized. And you can hear the people in the audience, you know, when his scenes would come up, when he's trying to deal with a particular individual and all that, and he's luring them into a prey, whatever, before he kills, or even dealing with the Losers Club, an adult, whatever, form, whatever, the shape-shifting aspect of it, things of that nature. I mean, what else can you say, honestly, in regards to him? I mean, all I can say is this. Dealing with him in these characters he's played, or character he played, I just think he did a phenomenal job in regards to, that's why I said, when I became fascinated really with his work, it started with a particular show, or a show was on, I can't remember the channel was on, but it was called Hemlock Grove. That is the show that introduced me to him, and I'm glad I followed his work from there on out, whatever, because once they picked him, and I was curious how he was going to play Pennywise, you know, especially because I love the Tim Curry portrayal so much. Granted, he had nothing else to go off of, so to see him come in there and just make it his own, he did an awesome job. I mean, you know, and he's going to always be remembered for that. He does a lot of different movies, don't get me wrong, whatever, and also he's now pigeonholed, but he will definitely be synonymous for playing that, and I'm hoping he is fine with that, because yes, he does an excellent job, you know, in regards to this movie. You know, kudos to Andy, you know, seeing something in him to bring him on, and him being able to come in there and bring it to life. So, but yes, I had to do that. So, but in the end, overall, you know, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I liked the ending. The CGI was done pretty darn well. It was definitely better than the TV miniseries. I tell you, oh my God, every time I think about it, it's just like, oh, it's horrible. But that was for the era of 90s. You know, we have a little bit better technology now. This one definitely was done better. I like the overall ending as well. I know some people were talking about, oh, they might, you know, they should be able to do a third. No, they're not going to do a third one. Please stop. You're doing too much. But okay, yeah. I'll play along knowing full well it's not going to happen, but okay. In the end, like I stated, very well done movie. My rating for this one out of a 10, I'll give it about an 8. Like I said, a little bit of fleshed out of the characters a little bit more. I want to see them more in their own lives. I wish we could have gotten to see a little bit more of that. Also, I will say, in regards to backstory, I didn't mind the backstory that they gave through the lens of when Mike was discussing this with all the losers, whichever, and even more so when he had his moments back and forth where it was just him and Bill, played by James McAvoy. I do wish I could have saw a little bit more of Pennywise prior to the killing, so we could get more of a backstory of him and how he did it. But you know, this thing's a supernatural creature, you know, monster of sorts. So it's not like we're going to see him in human form, whatever. He's just shapeshifter at times. So there's no way, because a lot of people, we were talking about backstory on Pennywise. It's a creature. It's not going to be a backstory. It's going to show he was some sort of human, and he of course became some sort of creature. If that was the case, that would be nice, but that is not how it actually was written. So you know, that was never going to happen. But also, then I also want to give a shout out to one scene that I will say did creep me out. And I want to give a shout out to the actual person that plays the character, Miss Kirch, aka Joan Gregson. Yes, that was one of the scenes in the movie I really enjoyed. We got to see the little part where it's like 2-3 minutes, whatever. But I tell you, just the people in the audience, I was just like, oh my God, she's so freaking creepy. And she did an excellent job playing that particular character in that scene. Was just so I just really enjoyed seeing it all in its entirety. And then the buildup of it when she starts stomping in the room, when you find, yes, trust me, that's why I don't want to give away everything that happens within that particular scene, because a lot happens after that part when it leads into the rest of the trailer. Very well done, Joan. And the picture I'm putting up of her, she's just a beautiful, beautiful lady. So to see them, you know, dress her down, whatever, and all that, you know, looking in the part, she did that part very, very well. So, but yes, again, I enjoyed the movie. I would love for you all to see it for yourself, so you can come back and let me know what you all think. Hit that comment section so we can kind of have our little banter. But yes, I definitely recommend it if you all can see it. They had so many showings of that thing in multiple hours, so it was, you know, it was selling out. I was surprised I was able to get the Saturday shows. I had to switch my times because something came up early in the day, and I made it a later evening one. But I got my tickets and I got to enjoy it again, because I figured I need to see it like one more time, and then that'll be it until I decide to get it, you know, when it comes out on DVD, which probably won't be that long. I bet you by the time January comes, it'll be out and I can be very happy again. So, but with that said, I hope you guys enjoy my review. I will see you on the next one. You guys take care.